We all know what the baseball offseason is about. Money, money, money. But while free agency contracts usually turn up more bad than good, when it comes to contract extensions, it's a different breed. The reason for that, teams usually have 6 years of control over a player before they hit free agency. And with having that control, they tend to offer that player a contract extension that covers their arbitration years and potentially some free agency years. Or a player is a year or two away from free agency and then their contract is extended as well. But what happens when shit hits the fans for these contract extensions and they end up not working for the team? That's what I'm here to talk about today. I have 13 contract extensions over the course of the last 5 years that I have deemed either contracts they were hoping to get a little bit more out of, but they might not have taken an L. We have a contract or two that's still up in the air that can go one way or another. And I have some contract extensions that just ended up bad for the team. Now, as I go through the list, you let me know in the comments section whether you agree with me or not. But if you do enjoy the content and analysis that Paint the Black Baseball gives you, maybe you can give me a like and subscribe. But let's get into these mid to bad contract extensions. So coming in at 13th place, we have Eloy Jimenez, who signed a 6-year, $43 million contract extension on March 20th, 2019, including club options for 2025 and 2026. If we take a look at his contract details, each of the club options have a $3 million buyout. The Chicago White Sox are on the hook for $13 million this year, and either they exercise the option or they're going to spend $3 million to not retain him. And my reasoning for having Jimenez on this list: over the course of this contract that started in 2019, he has accumulated 5.3 WAR in total, but Jimenez cannot stay healthy, and in this past season he wasn't hitting like the above average hitter we were used to seeing, as he only accumulated 105 WRC plus. His power numbers were a little bit down, and his numbers are down so much that the White Sox have been looking into potentially moving him this offseason. And the fact that this contract extension was supposed to be a bargain for the Chicago White Sox, and now they're looking to potentially move Jimenez, it shows that they did not get the return on investment that they wanted. And now that the contract is a little bit more expensive and Jimenez is a player that can't stay healthy, and when he is healthy, he's not even producing like he should. In hindsight, the White Sox might have been okay with going year to year with Jimenez more so than extending him. But this also isn't an extension that's damning or hurting the White Sox, because clearly if they move Jimenez, they could still get an asset for it. So it's not the worst contract extension, but it also didn't end up how the White Sox wanted. That's why I have it at number 13. And coming in at 12th place, we have Yoán Moncada, who signed a 5-year, $70 million contract extension with the Chicago White Sox on March 5th, 2020. And if we take a look at his contract details, he's going to be making $24 million this year. He has a club option for $25 million, and if they don't exercise it, he has a $5 million buyout. Moncada in 2021 was really good when he had a 4 WAR, but over the course of this contract that started in 2020, he's only accumulated a 7.2 WAR in total. And the reason why I have him on this list, they are now going to be paying him $24 million when he's coming off a season where he had a WRC plus of 98. He had an on base of 305. He only accumulated a 1.2 WAR. And if you're paying someone $24 million for value like that, you are not happy with those results. And we all know the White Sox aren't a team that spends with the big dog. So when they spend their money, they need to spend it right. And right now they have $14 million committed to Eloy Jimenez and then $24 million committed to Moncada. And these players didn't turn out to be the hitters that they were expecting. And now the White Sox have made everyone available this offseason besides Luis Robert Jr. So you know they aren't happy with this extension as well. I don't blame the White Sox for extending either, and that's why they're lower on my list. But we also have to acknowledge it didn't turn out how they wanted to. And the fact that they're trying to trade both players instead of extending these players shows where these extensions went. And coming in at 11th place, we have David Bote, who signed a 5-year, $15 million contract extension with the Chicago Cubs on April 3rd, 2019. If we take a look at his contract, he's still on the hook for $5.5 million next year, and he has a 2025 club option for $7 million, or with a $1 million buyout. You may be looking at this contract and say, it's only $15 million. Why is he on this list? But the reason David is on this list, he's only accumulated a 0.1 WAR total since this contract started in 2020. It is so bad that after the 2022 season, the Chicago Cubs outrighted him to the minors, and he has not seen the majors since. And this is someone they had on their payroll for the previous season for $4 million. Now it's going to be $5.5 million. You're paying this for a AAA player. You know this is a deal the Cubs wish they had back because they really had no good reason to extend him. In the 2 years that earned him an extension, he was a really good and valuable bench player and accumulated 1.9 WAR and 356 plate appearances and had 105 WRC plus. But to me, this isn't a player you extend. That's someone you go year to year, and it turns out great, sure, but he wasn't going to be someone in arbitration that was going to be demanding a high cost, so I never saw the reason for extending this. And the fact that they've only gotten 0.1 WAR from all of this, and more than likely that's all they're going to get because he didn't even see the team in 2023, this is a move that the Cubs wish they would have had back. But since it's only $15 million in total, this is not a move that hurts a franchise, but I had to put it on the list because they definitely regret this move. Coming in at 10th place, we have Christian Yelich, who signed a 7-year, $188.5 million contract extension with the Milwaukee Brewers on March 3rd, 2020. Now, let me just be on record. If this video was made before 2023, Christian Yelich would have been top 5 on this list. But in his previous season, he did just have a 4.1 WAR year. He was really good again, but he was a player worthy of being paid like this finally, after having years of wondering if he lost it for good. But we take a look at this contract. It still has the potential to end up bad if he doesn't repeat 2023 for at least another year or two. He is entering his age 32 season. He signed potentially to 2030, his age 38 season. He has a 2029 mutual option. The 2029 mutual option includes a $6.5 million buyout. If the mutual option is declined, deferred money is paid at $2.5 million each from 2031 to 2042. And if the mutual option is exercised, deferred money is paid at $2.3 million each from 2031 to 2041 and $2.7 million in 2042. And I also want to give the context that Christian Yelich signed this extension coming off an MVP season. The Milwaukee Brewers aren't a big market spending team, so I'm not going to fault a smaller market team for extending their player just coming off an MVP season for the long haul. I do like having the context with the deal, so knowing all of that, that's why I have it 10th on the list. This contract still has a way of turning bad, but so far it started off a little rocky. He just had a really good year. He has the potential to change this contract around, or next time I do this list, he's going to be higher up on it. Either way, it's still a little bit of wait and see. I'm also not going to be mad at a smaller market team extending their MVP. Coming in at 9th place, we have Antonio Sensatila, who signed a 5-year, $50.5 million contract extension with the Colorado Rockies on October 5th, 2021. He is potentially signed until either 2027, his age 32 season, or 2028, his age 33 season. His 2027 club option also has no buyout. The reason for Antonio being on this list, he has had a lot of injuries since signing this extension. As you see here, there are 5 listed, including an elbow injury that's going to hinder him all the way into 2024. He has only accumulated 1.2 WAR since signing this extension, and with him on pace to not return towards the end of the 2024 season, that's going to be 1.2 WAR potentially for 3 years covered. He does have the potential to turn it around in 2025 and 2026, and his salary is only $12 million, so he could turn around if he ends up healthy enough. But as of right now, with this injury history and him not being able to stay healthy, the Colorado Rockies would have rather gone year to year more so than extending this contract. But do keep in mind, he did earn this contract extension. He did have a 3.5 WAR pitching season in Coors Field. That's something to write home about. But yeah, the injuries just ended up not working for the Rockies, and now this contract is looking to be a hindrance more than being a bargain. And coming in at 8th place, we have Miguel Sano, who signed a 3-year, $30 million contract extension with the Minnesota Twins on January 10th, 2020. Because this contract is already over, the terms of the extension wasn't shown on Spotrac, but Sano was paid $27 million for the first 3 years of the deal. That's $9 million each season. Then he had a $14 million club option with a $3 million buyout for the 2023 season. And if we take a look at his stats, because he did not play in 2023 as a Twin Twins declined his club option, and over the course of this extension, Miguel Sano only accumulated a .8 WAR total. The Twins came into this deal hoping to potentially get 2 free agency years out of Sano, and they ended up paying him $9 million for a negative .9 WAR season. That was one of the first free agency years, and they're like, no more, we've had enough of this. So to spend $30 million and to only get .8 WAR for a team like the Twins that's a mid-market team, that $9 million could have definitely been spent elsewhere and been more useful. But also Sano was a player that was in their organization for a very long time at that point, and they were thinking, hey, let's be loyal, but that loyalty ended up biting them in the ass in the end. Coming in at 7th place, we have Randall Grichuk, who signed a 5-year, $52 million contract extension with the Toronto Blue Jays on April 2nd, 2019. If we do take a look at his contract, he has been on the Rockies and Angels since. So where did this go wrong to where the Blue Jays thought they were getting a bargain and ended up having to trade him? Not only traded, he was traded with cash. And the reason for that, since signing this deal and the grand total now that the deal is over, he only accumulated a 2.4 WAR in total. Because in 2019, when he had a full season, he accumulated a .9 WAR. He was really bad offensively. He was 10 points below league average. He had an on base of 280. So the Blue Jays already had their questions after just giving him this extension. And then in 2021, when they were really done with him, he had a WRC plus of 85, an on base of 281, and he only accumulated a .2 WAR despite appearing in 149 games. So the Blue Jays are like, we need to cut our losses and move on. And to keep it real with you, they made the right call, because in 2022, he accumulated a negative .2 WAR. He had another season hitting below league average. He was also really bad defensively that year. So he was just not a positive anywhere. And in 2023, something must have changed, because in the first part of the season with the Colorado Rockies, he had a WRC plus of 116. It was good enough to where the Angels were trying to add at the deadline. They traded for him, but then he regressed as a hitter as well. To sum all of this up, Randall was a player you need to go year to year, because one year he could be an above average hitter, and the next year he's hitting below league average. You never know what you're going to get with him. And with a player like that, you go year to year. The Blue Jays learned from their mistake, they moved on, and this was a contract extension they definitely regret, and they did not get their return on investment for it. Coming in at 6th place, we have Luis Severino, who signed a 4-year, $40 million contract extension with the New York Yankees on February 5th, 2019. As of recording this video, Luis is now with the Mets. He signed a 1-year, $13 million deal. Let's take a look at the full length of this extension, because it's completely over now. In 2019, it was $4 million plus a $2 million bonus. It was $10 million in 2020, $10.25 million in 2021, and 2022 was an $11 million with a 2023 club option for $15 million. The Yankees did exercise it, so this extension maxed out at $52.25 million over 5 years. And over the course of this deal, Luis only accumulated a 1.5 WAR for $52 million. And with his previous season, he provided negative WAR value. He had 18 games started and had a 6.65 ERA. His FIP was 6.14. Luis went from being one of the Yankees' biggest pitching assets to being unreliable because of all of the injuries. And then when he finally returned, he wasn't his old self. He's hoping to regain himself with the Mets. So I'm not going to fault the Yankees for extending one of their young pitchers that was doing well. It just ended up not working for him because he got injured. They were trying to buy out 1 year of free agency. They did, and they didn't get good value for it. So coming in at 5th place, we have Evan White, who signed a 6-year, $24 million contract extension with Seattle Mariners on November 22nd, 2019. You might be asking yourself, why is someone that's only signed for $24 million is this high on the list? But not only has this person accumulated a negative WAR in total for the Seattle Mariners, but if we take a look at his contract, he's getting a little bit more expensive, and the Mariners just attached him as a salary dump in a trade to the Braves, where they had to attach Jared Kelenic and Marco Gonzalez as well to get out of it. And that's because he's still owed $17 million over the next 2 years. He's set to make $7 million this year, $8 million the next, and then obviously if they're going to deny the club option, it has a $2 million buyout. But this guy was a first-round pick for the Seattle Mariners. They thought he was going to be a first baseman for the foreseeable future. He played in the shortened season, and in that shortened season he was really good defensively and won a Gold Glove. But in 2021 and 104 at bats. He had a 24 WRC plus. He was so bad, he hasn't seen the majors since then. He's been bounced around. He got traded to the Braves, and then the Braves just attached him to get dumped onto the Angels. He's going to be in AAA for the foreseeable future. This is one of those deals where they thought they were going to lock up a young player and get a bargain. This bargain ended up fucking them over in the long run, just to be real with you. With a team like the Mariners where every dollar counts for them, they now had to get rid of a promising player just to rid themselves of this contract. So yes, this contract was a disaster for the Mariners, and you see the lengths and measures that they had to do to get out of it. So coming in at 4th place, we have Aroldis Chapman, who signed a 3-year, $48 million contract extension with the New York Yankees on November 3rd, 2019. Now for context with this deal, following the 2019 season, Chapman had the opportunity to opt out of his 5-year, $86 million contract with the Yankees, and in the end, Chapman threatened to opt out unless he was given an extension, and they gave him another year valued at $18 million, which made it a 3-year, $48 million extension. But when they gave Chapman this extension, he still wasn't an elite closer. But after giving him an extension, he only accumulated a .7 WAR over those 3 years with the Yankees. In the shortened season, Chapman was good, but in 2021, you can start seeing the signs of him declining as his walk rate doubled. He had a 3.09 ERA in the shortened season, and then it was 6.07. His strikeout rate also was declining. He wasn't the same pitcher as he was before. And then in 2022, not only did he have injury issues, but when he did pitch, he had a 4.57 FIP, negative WAR. This was not what the Yankees signed up for. But funny enough, after the extension was over, Chapman regained his value with the Royals and then was traded to the Rangers and ended up just winning a World Series. So he still might have a little bit left in his tank, but whatever that little was, he was not giving it to the New York Yankees, and that extension ended up being a bad one because .7 WAR or $48 million is not a good return on investment. So coming in at 3rd place, we have Aaron Hicks, who signed a 7-year, $70 million contract extension with the New York Yankees on February 25th. That's my birthday, by the way, 2019, including a club option for 2026. Now, if you follow baseball, you know Aaron Hicks was released by the New York Yankees this year. So looking into the contract details, Aaron Hicks was making $8 million in 2019, $10.5 million in each season from 2020 to 2023, and then he was set to make $9.5 million in 2024 and 2025 with a $12.5 million club option with a $1 million buyout. And as you know, the Yankees already released him, so they are on the hook for $20 million over the course of the next 2 years. This contract was so bad for the Yankees, he only accumulated a 2.8 WAR over the course of the contract for the Yankees. And in 2023, he gave them negative value, and then when he went to the Baltimore Orioles, he contributed positive value with a 129 WRC plus, a 1.5 WAR. He all of a sudden learned to hit again once he left New York. So for you to not only provide negative value to the Yankees and then provide positive value to one of their rivals, Yankee fans truly hate Aaron Hicks, and I don't blame them for it. But it also goes to show that Yankee fans sometimes are their own worst enemy because you create this environment that puts a lot of pressure on players, and not every person is going to be able to live up to it, and they get into a situation where the pressure isn't as rampant, and then they're able to come into their own and hit like they're supposed to hit. Now, when the Yankees signed Aaron Hicks to this extension, I did feel like it was a little bit premature. Aaron Hicks was hitting good for the Yankees. He is a player that I would have gone year to year with because of his ups and downs, and this is a contract the Yankees clearly regret doing. Coming in at 2nd place, we have Hunter Dozier, who signed a 4-year, $25 million contract extension with the Kansas City Royals on February 28, 2021. This is another one you may be asking. It's only $25 million. Why are you including this on the list? Well, not only has Hunter Dozier accumulated a negative 2.4 WAR since signing this contract, he also was released by Kansas City this year on May 27, 2023 because of how bad he's been. And that means they are still on the hook for over $17 million left on this contract, as he had $7.25 million in 2023 and then $9 million in 2024, and then there was a $10 million club option with a $1 million buyout for 2025. So to be paying all of this money for a player that only provided you negative WAR. And also keep in mind that Kansas City has never been a team that has spent a ton of money. This was a disaster for them because Hunter was a first round pick. He started off bad for them, but in 2019 he had a really good season with 123 WRC plus. And in the shortened season, he wasn't the greatest, but he's shown that he was still able to hit above league average. To them, that was enough to be like, let's extend him for the long haul. But ever since that happened, he was a disaster for the Royals. And you know it's so bad when you get released, no one has even signed or picked you up on a minor league deal. His major league career is potentially over, but at least he was able to get that $25 million before he fizzled out. I'm gonna be on record. Even when this contract extension was signed, I didn't get why Kansas City was doing it. Hunter was never a special player to me. He's one of those people, you go year to year, and one of those years when he's finally not playing up to par, you can cut your losses and not have to pay $17 million like the Royals have had to pay since releasing him. And last, the worst contract extension in the last 5 years is Chris Sale, who signed a 5-year, $145 million contract extension with the Boston Red Sox on March 22nd, 2019. Do keep in mind that the Red Sox were just fresh off of winning the World Series, and Chris Sale was a big part of the reason to why they wanted to extend their pitcher for the long haul. And at that time, Chris Sale definitely justified this contract extension. But unfortunately, being justifiable for the contract extension and the contract extension working out are not the same thing. And this contract did not work out for the Red Sox, and that's mainly because Chris Sale has had injury issues since signing the contract extension. Chris Sale had elbow issues late 2019, and then in 2020 he had Tommy John surgery, and as we all know, Tommy John surgery is going to take you out for a year to year and a half. And then when Chris Sale returned in 2021, he did give him some valuable innings in the 42 innings pitch. But ever since he's had the elbow issues in 2019, this man cannot stay healthy and cannot stay on the field. He was finally able to make 20 starts in 2023 and accumulated 2.1 WAR. But for Chris Sale to only accumulate 3.1 WAR in total for this deal, and they're still on the hook for 2024 at $27.5 million, and this money's going to be deferred on this contract from 2035 to 2039. This contract has been a complete disaster for the Red Sox. They did not get their return on investment, and the fact that they're going to be paying on this contract until 2039, you know they wish they wouldn't have done this deal. But I also can't blame the Red Sox for doing it. They were fresh off of winning the World Series. He was their best pitcher, and he had been healthy up until that point. But people always did wonder with Chris Sale's throwing motion, would it age well? And now their questions have been answered because he did not. And I hate for injuries to be a reason why the contract extension is the worst, but it is what it is in this aspect. So yeah, usually with contract extensions, it usually ends up working out for both parties. The player has a little security, and the team knows they have a player locked up for the foreseeable future. But there are also times when a team chooses to lock up a player and he doesn't live up to those expectations, and that's what I feel like happened with these 13 players. Of course, there's different level of discrepancies, but any player on this list, I feel like this team, either they wish they would have gotten more out of the deal or they never would have signed it in the first place. You guys let me know in the comment section, do you think there was a contract extension that I forgot? Do you think there was one that I had too high? Do you think there was one I had too low? Do you think I was a little bit too harsh on someone or too lenient on someone? Let me know in the comment section. But as you know, of Paint the Black Baseball, I'm going to give you consistent analysis. That's why make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell for all my videos so you can like and participate in the comment section. I hope you have a great day.